I'm Don. Today we paint some Grimskald miniatures that are part of their current ongoing Kickstarter. Today we paint about purple underpainting or underpainting in general and the added values that they add to your miniature painting. So watch as we turn these miniatures into this. I'm Don, welcome back to my channel. This channel is supported by all these awesome brands. And of course, this channel won't be possible without the support of you guys, my patrons. The most common misconception about underpainting is that it's a waste of time, especially if you don't paint with transparent paints like contrast paints, inks, and glaze paints. Basic underpainting like a light primer or even zenithal, black and white underpainting contributes to your final output because some colors like yellows and reds or even purples are semi-transparent and they kinda gives a more vibrant finish to your painting. If you're a long-time subscriber or even patron, you all know that I love my sepia underpainting. However, with this one, we're using purple. And purple is, to be honest, a more, as weird as it may sound, is a more neutral color in terms of using it as a shade color than even brown. You could actually go wild with your underpainting. You could have red underpainting on the other side and dark bluish tones on the other side. However, I find that purple is more neutral than any of these colors. Simply because purple or violet, purple is a different color. It's not a mixture of blue and red, but I like calling it purple. So purple is a mixture of red and blue, so it's right smack in the middle. And also purple is the complementary color of yellow, which is the brightest color in the color wheel. So naturally, purple is the darkest color, especially if you add a little bit of black or some other color to make it darker. It is a natural looking shade or shadow color for everything. By everything, I mean any other color in the color wheel. Unlike sepia underpainting, which is yellowish brown color, or even if you use a reddish brown color as underpainting, those colors does not transition well if you're painting olive greens or even blues because they're like totally opposite, not totally opposite, but almost totally opposite the color wheel. So transitioning from a sepia or brown underpainting towards cool colors is not as easy as transitioning all these colors from a purple underpainting. There are two ways to maximize your underpainting. One is to paint with semi-transparent paints on top of the underpainting and build up your colors. And second, which is underrated, is to make sure that when you're painting via layering, you leave certain areas with your previous color, which is, again, your underpainting. Now you see in the video, we're finished with our purple underpainting. It's super nice. It's not obvious in the video that I left some crevices and really deep recesses as black primer. So in this manner, I have like a more volumetric feel to my underpainting. Also, we use a couple of purples. The other one is lighter, so we have more volume. After painting my underpainting, that's a lot of painting, but basically after doing this, I tend to give this a nice matte finish, varnish, so that it protects our underpainting. Now, since we have a nice purple underpainting, the transitions from the black primer towards the purples, we have nice transition of our shade color. So basically, there are two basic ways on how to utilize underpainting. The most obvious and easiest way to utilize underpainting is to use this color as our primary shade color. Meaning, this color, the purple underpainting, transitions from the black primer towards your base colors. Our purple underpainting as our shade color is what we did with all these miniatures. A second, not so straightforward and could seemingly be a bit more complex in terms of painting, is to utilize your underpainting as your secondary light source. This means that if you have like an explosion on the right side of the miniature, you could paint red underpainting from the bottom areas of the model. That will look like a secondary light source, a reflection of the explosion. Similarly, if you have a lava base, of course, you could readily paint the reflection of the lava on your miniature even before you paint the base colors. So those are like very not so obvious ways, because usually we paint those effects after we painted the miniature. The most straightforward way is we paint the miniature normally and we apply secondary lighting or even tertiary lighting when we've painted the whole miniature. I actually did that with the Minotaur and added a reflection of red light from the bottom just to give more volume and interest to the Minotaur. Remember I said you could go wild and just paint red on the other side and blue on the other side as your underpainting, or dark blue. However, with purple, it's very neutral in my opinion, and you could actually transition all of the colors in the color wheel from the purple underpainting. So since purple is a very good generic shade color for all of the colors, you could see that it transitions really well with the fur painting of the Minotaur, which is yellow ochre. That is actually the best base color on top of the purple because it's like the complementary color of the purple underpainting. Normal skin and the red skin obviously are really good to transition from the purple underpainting to, especially although it's kinda underrated, normal skin, because normal skin you have to leave very small areas of the purple, especially around the shade areas, but it's a really good foundation color or base color for your skin paints, because usually flesh tones, regardless of brand, are kinda semi-transparent. So since they're semi-transparent, they paint really well on top of an underpainting. Now looking at this video now, it's kind of funny that we're painting purple skin while we're talking about purple underpainting. Obviously, it's the most natural transition from our underpainting towards the purple skin. However, I decided to use bluish tint, bluish gray highlights with this one so that I could show you that the purple underpainting also works well with bluish tones. Although we painted very little olive greens, and I think I edited it out, so basically the painting of the cloak of the dwarves are olive greens. Olive greens are generally, again regardless of brand, semi-transparent. So layering them on top of the purple underpainting is pretty easy too. Also, it's easier than layering those olive greens over purple than over sepia. With sepia, it will look kinda dirty, but in most cases, you like that effect. Now, I painted all these miniatures in one sitting. This is why I decided to do purple underpainting. So I painted 2 purple demons, 5 dwarves, and 4 red demons, really cute ones, and of course the Minotaur. So even though the painting process, which is layering, you see in the video is not the most efficient in terms of painting an army or a batch of miniatures, I kinda enjoyed building up the layers over the purple. The purple underpainting gave me a very generic shade color for all the models, and thus by leaving some the recess areas and in between the different elements of the model, by leaving a bit of black primer, I was able to create very good definition even though I was painting a not really big but a batch of models. So, like what I said earlier, the purple underpainting kinda helped me transition from the black primer, giving me very good contrast or dark shades, but at the same time transitioning to my base colors, the skin colors, or even the armor was very smooth. It was like the transition looks natural. So because of the purple underpainting, painting the different skin tones and even the fur of the Minotaur was fairly easy. However, another challenge was the painting of the non-metallic metal, and it was my first time to paint non-metallic metal for a batch of miniatures. So the painting of the non-metallic metal transitioned surprisingly really well from the purple underpainting, although I had to use dark sea blue and transition that dark bluish green color from the purple underpainting, leaving some areas purple or even black, but at the same time making sure that the transition from the bluish tint color similar to the painting of the purple skin is fairly smooth. So after painting the dark sea blue, it's just a matter of painting the non-metallic metal towards the highlights. So it's a matter of building up light bluish grays until I reach to where I need to paint the highlights, which I highly recommend the Citadels because they're easier to highlight with. The model color is a bit too thick and you have to thin them perfectly to use them as highlighting paints. It's important to note though that the new game colors from Vallejo are also easy to use for highlighting. It took me like a solid 5 days to finish all these 12 miniatures. I know I'm kinda slow, but I'm not going for the usual tabletop standard wherein you just slap paint so that it looks painted. Now before I reveal, a ton of thanks to all my patrons, because without my patrons, this channel won't be possible. So we're done. The purple underpainting worked so well as I expected because purple is a bit more neutral in terms of saturation or hue than our usual sepia underpainting. The purple helped bridge the gap from the black primer towards our base colors. It was so natural to paint the red skin as you see here because it's very near the color wheel. And with the non-metallic metal, I was surprised that transitioning from purple or dark purple to dark sea blue kind of worked well, and it gave a warmer feel to the non-metallic metal. Also, like the skin of the dwarves and even the beard looks really nice as I left some purple areas around the crevices of the beard, giving it like really nice definition, and it kind of complements my highlight colors. The purple skin here is a little bit more challenging than what I expected. I think painting purple skin is easier if I start with a zenithal, a very light like foundation or primer, and then paint from light to dark. I think that will be easier, but we'll try that in a different project. So I enjoyed the painting of the dwarves as usual, but I super enjoyed the painting of the Minotaur. One, because it's bigger and it's friendlier to my old eyes, and also I was able to play around with the muscle contours. You could see here that I left so many purple underpainting on the muscles, giving it a very high contrast look. Also, I applied a secondary lighting on the side from the bottom of red paint so that it gives more interest and like dynamic to the painting. I painted these models I think a couple of months ago or almost a couple of months ago, and they have PDFs at Patreon. However, I do have better violet and purple paints now because I bought some new paints, and I'm very excited to try them out on a different project. By better, I mean the violets that I have has better coverage. That's it, Pansit. I hope you liked the video and watch these other videos.